So an equivalent fraction is fractions that are equal to each other but have different terms in the numerator and denominator. So the app that we just did is the one that you can use to help you out with this exercise. So if I want to find an equivalent fraction for 3 over 5, here I have 3 parts shaded out of 5 parts whole, and I want to come up with another fraction for this. Now, if I go to my app, this is my app, and I can see that 6 out of 10 simplifies to 3 out of 5. But you have to play around with this and to find different apps. So I know that 6 out of 10. I also know that 9 out of 15 is going to give me the same thing, 3 out of 5. And I can see that, and I can see how I can draw that as well. So I can go back to my app, or back to my notes here, and I can see that 3 out of 5 can be exactly the same as 6 out of 10. So I can shade out of these. I can divide this into 10 parts. So I'm going to start with the 5 parts the same, and I'm going to times everything by 2. And then I have double the number of parts that make up my whole. That also gives me the double the amount of parts that make up my part. Okay, so I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that green shaded area is the same as 3/5. The other fraction I came up with was 9 out of 15. So what I'll do is I'll start with my 1/5 fractions again. I'm going to divide it into 5. I'm just using the lines from above. And I'm going to multiply by 3, make 3 groups of these. So each one of these sections, I need to do groups of 3. So I'm doing groups. So groups means multiplication. So I'm going to times the top and bottom by 3. What ends up happening is the 3 pieces I had shaded now become 9 pieces shaded. Okay, and now the 5 pieces that were whole made up the whole. Now times by 3 gives me 15 pieces that make up the whole. For 2, 6, I'm going to do a times by 2 and on top and bottom. So I'm going to end up with 4 out of 12. So that means that when I divide this, I'm going to start with my 6 pieces. This line should be over here. I've got my 6 pieces, and I'm going to times by 2, which is going to double. I'm going to have groups of 2, and then my 2 pieces shaded now become 4 pieces shaded because I doubled the grouping of those. I can also divide, since 2 and 6 share a common divisor of 2. So I can make this 1 over 3. So that 1 over 3 then is going to be my new fraction. So instead of doing groups of 2, I'm going to ungroup 2 and make this into 3. And so that group of 2 now becomes a group of 1. So I ungrouped, which means I'm dividing. So there's my 1/3 fraction, and that's equivalent to 2, 6. So these are grouping. If I do regrouping of the numerator and denominator, which means times and divide, we can find equivalent fractions. So equivalent fractions are to do with groupings or times and divide.